Hello and welcome to another midweek reflection. I hope this finds you well. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you've been enjoying the gorgeous sunshine we've been having. My week's been good. Thanks for asking. I've received a fair few photographs from my family this week. And if you told me a year ago that my dad would be sending me photographs taken on his smartphone via WhatsApp, other platforms are available, I never would have believed you. But anyway, he is. And so he sent some lovely ones of him in the park, in the sunshine, and one of some daffodils, which was really nice. And it came with a helpful suggestion of where the Welsh might like to put them, which was kind of him. And whereas my sister has sent me quite a few photographs of her lounge. Fascinating, I hear you cry. And yeah, I did feel the same. But she wanted me to see the redecoration that they were doing, which is fair enough. And it did look nice enough. And I know that they're not on their own in taking the lockdown as an opportunity to spruce up their home and garden. But I wonder about our spiritual homes, how we've attended to those over the last few months. I wonder what the term spiritual home means to you. I wonder if there's a passage from the Bible which connects with you personally in your understanding of spiritual home. I wonder what barriers or challenges there might be in finding a spiritual home. Great questions, eh? And they're not from me, so I'm not bragging for once, but these are questions that I've been asked to speak about at a discussion evening for the URC youth next week. No, I'm not pretending I'm one of the youth, but I've been asked to speak at it. How dare you? But I wonder how you would answer. So I'm going to say them again. What does the term spiritual home mean to you? And is there a passage from the Bible which connects with you or resonates with your understanding of a spiritual home? And what might be the barriers or challenges in finding a spiritual home? As it happens, these are questions that have come up in some form or other in various different guises recently. Take that last question, the barriers or challenges to finding a spiritual home. Only a couple of weeks ago, we shared a brave and honest bit of writing from a friend of the church who has not always felt welcomed by the church she calls home because of her sexuality. While some of the young adults I've been interviewing recently have spoken with me about the barriers that they or their peers face in finding a spiritual home in a traditional church. And what about that first question? What does spiritual home mean to you? Is it a building like a childhood home or a sports stadium or maybe even a church building? Or perhaps there's another kind of place like a town or a land? Or is it a people, a family or friendship group or congregation perhaps with whom you feel at home? Or is time a factor in your spiritual home? Would yours be your garden at dawn or a twilight run or a Sunday morning service even? And what about that last question? A passage from the Bible which resonates with your understanding of a spiritual home. What comes to mind for you? I reckon there'll be one or two of us who will think about the parable commonly referred to as the prodigal son as their spiritual home, or as something that resonates as a story that says something about their spiritual home. Because in the story we hear of a home of welcome and forgiveness and reckless love, and also of some conflict, all overseen by a generous father. Perhaps that resonates in some way with you. Well, in our Lent book, Richard Rohr speaks of this parable. His overall argument in the whole book, so save yourself some money and time if you want to know this, is essentially that we all need boundaries, affirmation and structure in our lives, in our early lives. A home where we feel safe and valued, but that we also need to leave that home. We need to move, live, love, experience loss or failure. We need to do all those things to learn and grow, and then perhaps returning home with a fresh mature and more generous understanding of the world and our place within it. He also suggests that those who don't leave their home, who stay within the structures, rules, and perspectives of their youth, might feel resentful or entitled, just like the older brother in the story. That they might focus on law rather than grace, who's in, who's out, and why. I wonder whether you think there's something to that. I wonder which character in that parable you most relate to. And I wonder where all the women are. Well, that's my wondering for today. You can never have too much wondering. As we said at the service on Sunday, curiosity might not be good for cats, but it is good for Christ followers. So our midweek challenge for this week, think about where our spiritual home might be. And you might want to thank God for the place and the people who make it so. You might want to think about how we can do all we can to take any barriers or challenges apart, to remove them for other people finding a spiritual home in our company. And you might even want to share a word about, or even a photograph of your spiritual home with the rest of us. And perhaps you could email Marcia or add your spiritual home on Facebook or WhatsApp, if so. And if we do have some who share that, we will share them with you next week. In the meantime, enjoy the sun, travel well, and may God bless our homes, be they spiritual, physical, metaphysical. May God be with you. Take care and have a good week.